Good evening, folks. Good afternoon, good evening, late afternoon. So we'll say good afternoon. Welcome back to Ibrox after today's firm game, which finished Rangers 2, Celtic 2 in the Scottish Premiership. This is just going to be a kind of short a post-match video. We obviously do these after most games. We're going to be live later on tonight as well. Myself, Johnny and Derek looking back on the game as well as tomorrow morning with some reaction to the press conference as well. To summarise the match, if you weren't watching, if you were doing something else, Rangers started poorly and went behind within 4 minutes. Alfredo Morelos with a slack pass after John Lundstrom had lost the 50-50. Then James Tavernier failed to get in between Dies and Maida on the ball or just stop him from running through on goal. He finished well. For the next 30 minutes, I thought Celtic were pretty dominant without having too many efforts at goal, but in terms of getting close to the box, there was a couple of moments they flashed the ball across, a couple of crosses that perhaps could have been converted. Rangers, meanwhile, I thought they were played through far too easily when they pressed. I thought it was really different compared to when Celtic pressed. They were much more aggressive and had much more success when they were playing against the ball. It started to change a little bit towards the end of the half. Rangers got a few crosses in. Alfredo Morelos, I think, with 2 opportunities from corners, probably should have done better. But after half-time, within the space of about 7 or 8 minutes, Rangers had turned it around. For the first goal, drove through the middle of the pitch after picking up a loose ball, picked out Ryan Kent, who finished so well into the top corner, cutting inside onto his right foot. It's a finish I tweeted out. It's a finish that Kent's been trying for ever since he came to Ibrox. And when I saw him come inside on his right foot and about to open up and try and find the far corner, you kind of think, oh no, because as I say, he's not got the greatest track record, but fair play to him because it was a fantastic finish right into the top corner. I thought he had a pretty good game, and the manager made some interesting comments about him in his post-match press conference, just saying that even when his numbers haven't always been there, he always stands up and is counted. And I thought he had a really good performance in this fixture, which was the case quite regularly up till about a season ago. Rangers then went ahead after Fashion Sakala drove through on goal. The manager said, speaking after the game, that it was too predictable the way that Rangers were trying to use Sakala's pace after the game. So they tried to switch it up a bit, half-time, a little bit more control and quality on the ball. And also, I thought against the ball, Rangers just much more aggressive, much more successful in the pressing. And after that, up until Kyogo scored a 85 or 86th equaliser, I don't think the Rangers had much to do. Alan McGregor didn't have to pull out any heroics. I don't think Celtic were great by their own standards. I think certainly by expected goals, Rangers obviously includes a penalty, but they were just over 2 compared to Celtic being just over 1. But I think the main talking point of the game is probably the quality that Rangers had to bring on from the bench compared to Celtic, who could bring on Giakoumakis and Jota. Jota got beyond Tavernier, who I thought looked pretty leggy for both the goals defensively. He got beyond them to help get the ball into the box for the equaliser. Rangers brought on Scott Wright, James Sands. I don't know if there was anyone else, Brian Jack as well. And it ties into again what the manager was saying in the post-match press conference. You can read that on the website just now. It'll be up on the YouTube channel to watch very shortly if it isn't already. But what he was saying is Rangers don't need a short-term fix. He had some interesting comments about a couple of players who maybe had a bit of a wake-up today. But saying that players that do come in need to be big players for Rangers in the next 2 to 3 years. And again, citing the injured players as he has done quite regularly in the last few weeks, saying that when they're back, it will be a whole lot better because it'll be game on, in his words, inside the building to make sure that everyone has to earn their shirt. So I would encourage you to go and read that on the website or watch it, because lots of interesting comments from the manager. I think overall, it will feel like 2 points drop for Rangers. In many ways, they needed a performance today because of their results in this recent Old Firm fixtures, because obviously of where they are in the table. But this is, Michael Beale's job is bigger than just having a successful season. He's been brought in for the long term. He needed a performance today that was much, much better than that second half. And Rangers did get that. Much better than the first half, and they did get that in the second half. I think the real story of it, though, is the quality that Rangers had to bring on off the bench, because I don't think they sat back and there's maybe some differences in what Beale would, he spoke before the game about not taking a step back. I guess that it differs a little bit when you're defending a lead. But if you looked at how high Rangers' line was, they didn't just sit in camp around their penalty box in the last 10 minutes. They could have. Malik Tillman goes one-on-one, probably should do better, and it could go 3-1. I don't think this was a game where they kind of gave up control to the opposition, but I do think that the quality they had to bring onto the bench compared to Celtic was different, and that's obviously something that will need to be addressed going forward. Let's get through some of these comments. As I say, we'll be live tonight, probably about 6 o'clock, maybe about 6:30. But do put your notifications on the YouTube channel, and we'll have a little bit more of an in-depth chat about it. James saying it feels like 2 points dropped. Luke saying the positives to take is a loss would have been a disaster, which is what most people expected. Still feels like a loss though. And then a comment here, speaking about substitutions. Let's get through some more here as well. Surprised Arfield didn't come on. I was a bit surprised as well because it feels like the exact type of game that Arfield would come into. I just wonder if it was because Wright has that pace to play in behind and try and get Rangers up the pitch, which I don't think worked brilliantly. But I just wonder if that was the kind of that was the plan behind that. Andrew saying lots to like about today. Good progress. John saying, hi Joshua, feels like 2 points dropped today. Sakala was our man of the match. Subs were debatable though. Yeah, it's definitely right to raise Sakala there, John, because that's what fashion Sakala gives you. He's unpredictable. He's quite unpolished, but often I think the focus from everyone, including myself, is what he doesn't bring, and what he does bring you is that kind of raw pace, and an ability to unsettle a defence sometimes, because that unpredictability maybe extends a little bit to how he attacks the defence. He doesn't always maybe have an exact preference of where he's going, but it's effective, and it made a big difference for Rangers today. Obviously had a big part in assisting the first goal, and it was an assist where it actually meant something. It wasn't a 2-yard pass, like 40 yards away from goal, but he managed to take out a few Celtic players and then play a good pass along the pitch to Kent, who, as we know, finished that shot really well. A lot of criticism for both James Sands and James Tavernier in the comments section. Obviously, Tavernier was beaten too easily for both the goals. I thought he looked to be struggling a little bit towards the end of the game. I don't know if anyone else saw it, but just maybe the last 2 or 3 minutes, I thought he was kind of he looked like he wasn't in top condition, which has obviously been a topic of conversation this season. Stuart as well saying that Rangers need reinforcements in January. Yeah, so as I said, I know I think it was before it was the Aberdeen game where there was a conversation that Beale said that he hadn't been well that week. And going forward, he wasn't that involved, but he's certainly not at his best, beaten way too easily for both those goals. Obviously scores that fantastic penalty as well, high into the net, which must be mentioned. And I don't think Sands did well when he came on. He was caught on the ball at that one point where you just not really got that time in an Old Firm game, do you, at all? And that's probably the difference. If Rangers do have a little bit more quality, if their squad's a little bit healthier, Beale's again making the point post-match about the fact that Rangers almost have a second 11 that are injured and not in the starting 11 that probably could give their starting 11 a good game, such as the reality of the injury situation he has inherited. So I think for Rangers, a lot of positives from a performance point of view. I think you can see what Michael Beale can do with this squad, but also I think you see how much work he's got to do in the additions that are undoubtedly needed. As I say, we're going to be live at about 6 o'clock tonight, maybe just a little bit later, depending on when we all get back from Ibrox. But keep the notifications on your YouTube channel, on your account. We'll be live tomorrow morning as well. But until then, there's plenty to read on our website. You can watch The Manager on our YouTube channel very soon, and we will speak to you, myself, Johnny and Derek, about 6